Oh, hey.
Okay, so we are live on the YouTube and the Facebooks and all that good stuff.
Do you send it to Twitter as well?
Right now I have it going to Facebook and my to YouTube.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
My,
if it's on Twitter, I was gonna
Head Speaks and my G.I. Joe Facebook or YouTube's.
Right.
I can only do 3, so
I see. Okay.
I should probably start saying it to Twitter instead of my Head Speaks YouTube just to spread it out a little bit more.
Spread it out, yeah.
That requires thinking and
thinking, effort,
I'm
consideration.
not great at all that. I'm still work. I forget to post on Twitter and what's that other one? Instagram.
I think. Yeah.
That's the other one I use. I don't. I'm really bad at this. Maybe why I don't have a whole lot of viewers and listeners because I forget to do this stuff half the time.
This is the most depressing episode we've ever done.
Again, I like to keep it real. That's one thing you say about me. I may not be the best podcaster or the best anything, but at least I like to keep it real.
Keeping it real. Nothing wrong with that.
Keeping it real and doing it live. Oh.
Dang straight.
Issue real quick. G.I. Joe. So let's see if I had it physically or not. Okay.
42, right?
Yes, sir.
I want to say I think I got really confused though because I think a couple months ago, one that hasn't been released. I think we did a long box crusade where I think we did 43. Okay. So I was like really confused. I was like, wait, didn't we just podcast about 43? But I was like, maybe that was a long box, a random long box we did. I don't remember, but
it must be because we haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it was. I'm like, I was wishing Pat was here. He could clear up the mystery.
That's the one that Kevin's threatened me under death that he has to be on for.
Oh, 43?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know we talked about it. It's like, what the heck show was I on? It must have been a long box because I remember Jason was there and Delvin and those are all the friends I have.
But at least you can name them. I mean, that's okay. Well, if we're ready to get going, let's get going. Let me see.
All right. Notes. I'll mute it up and let you get your stuff going.
Got my notes. Does someone else have notes as usual? So a moment of silence. And welcome to G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast. This is episode 43. As usual, I am your host, Aaron, Brotherhead Moss. And joining me this time, I have a whole group of people. Okay, well, I've got Jarrod, but, I've got one person and, I do what I can do. So joining me as usual here in the studio, we have Jarrod, the drawer. Yeah, try that again.
That's it. I'm the job driver.
No, I'm going home. Wait a minute. Shit, I'm home. Joining me in the studio, we have Jarrod, the long box drawer artist guy, Albrick. Jarrod, welcome to the show, man. Welcome
hey.
to least.
All right, it's good to be here. I can't believe it's just me and you. It's like a covert ops mission.
Yes.
Special missions task force. Just the two of us here today. But no, I'm excited to be here to talk about
you last month.
Joe stuff.
You were busy.
That's right. I was like closer to you. I was like within, what did you say, like 4 hours from you?
Yeah. You're in LA, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, Peterson Automotive Museum.
About 3-4 hours away from me.
Yeah, I was doing some.
I would have had some time and money. I could have came down and saw you, but
didn't have no time. Didn't have no money.
Got more time than money. I got no time. So.
Oh yeah, but I did listen to the last one. You guys did a great job. I was really entertained by listening to it, and I'm happy to pick up. Basically, everybody that was there last time is now gone.
Yes,
and I'm replacing everybody.
Yes. But anyways, so this is for issue number 42. Of course, this title was called "The Ties That Bind." Let's go and get some information on this book. This was cover dated December of 1985. The on sale date was December the 10th of 1985. Cover price was 75 cents. The writer, as normal, was Larry Hama. Penciler, Rod Wiggum. Inker, Andy Mushinski. letterer Joseph Rosen, the colorist George Russos. The cover is done by some guy named Mike Zeck, but this time he doesn't have Beatty with him. It's Dennis Jank, or is it Janky?
I think it's Dennis Janky.
Dennis Janky. That's how you usually
pronounce
it.
Cover.
The Janky cover. This was edited by Dennis O'Neill, and this was reprinted in G.I. Joe Volume 5 trade paperback from 2003. And that's the only one Mike lists on his website, but I'm pretty sure it's probably also in the G.I. Joe Complete Collection 4. Is that correct? That's what I thought. I was guessing
Absolutely.
it for.
Yep. Volume 4, the red cover. It is definitely in there. That's where I read it.
They went up to like 8 or 9 volumes on that before they decided to stop it.
I think it's 9 volumes. I'd have to go look, but yeah.
So that took us up to what, around issue 90 or so, probably.
Yeah, probably. I'll let you know when we get there. I've been reading along with you in the show. So,
so a quick synopsis on this one. General Austin has a heart attack. Candy escapes from Buzzer. Fred, too, turns out to be an old Nam buddy of Snake Eyes and Stalker as he confronts them both at the Vietnam Memorial. The Softmaster arrives in Springfield to get more information on the Hardmaster's death, and Billy leaves his training with Storm Shadow to confront his father. Dun, dun, dun. And so, as usual, we're going to start with the cover. I know Jarrod doesn't usually read these, but he looks at the covers at least.
True.
The cover of this one, we've got a very dynamic background. It's like yellows and reds and oranges splashing off of the sword that Storm Shadow is holding over the head of a mysterious individual. He's all blacked out. There's a question mark on his head. Over on the G.I. Joe Facebook group, someone suggested, why does Storm Shadow have it in for Alfred E. Newman?
It does have those ears.
I'm like, why not? And as someone else said, even under the threat of a sword coming down on his head, Alfred E. Newman's like, why me? Worry?
Yep.
So anyways, that is the cover. Jarrod, do you have thoughts on this cover?
I do. And I janky zek, janky zek. Yeah, it's not there. The magic's not there. the magic's not there. But the art really is there. This is a really cool looking cover. This is Mike Zeck in top Mike Zeck form. And while I do prefer Beatty's ink over Zeck, Dennis Janky did a good job. This is a good looking cover. It really is. In fact, I didn't even realize, I thought for sure this was a Beatty until I was like, okay, looking at the cover, we're going to talk about it. And I looked down that corner, I was like, Janky, what the hey, man? So if Janky can trick me into thinking he's Beatty for a moment, that's pretty good. So I really like it. I really like sort of the explosive color that you were describing from sort of the center of the page, so focusing on the sword. I love the question mark. It does kind of look like Alfred E. Newman, perhaps the Riddler, but it's the fact they put the question mark on there just adds this dash of intrigue to the cover, which already has a really, really great Storm Shadow drawing of him about to slice that ninja sword down. So this is a very, very cool and memorable cover.
So my question for you, having read this book, do you think that the cover needs the question mark on the figure's head? Do you think it's more of do you think it is needed instead of showing who it actually is?
Does it need it? No.
Do you think it brings anything? Let me put it that way.
But I think if we put ourselves back into 1985, right? Is it 85? If we do that, if we travel back in time, we imagine seeing that on the spinner rack, it does add that layer of intrigue. Like it makes you want to answer that question to the question mark. So I think as adult collectors who have been around this cover for years, it probably doesn't do a lot. Because I mean, the second I looked at the cover, I was like, that's Billy. But I probably knew that because I read the story all those years ago. But if we go back to 85, I think it gives like if you're spinning on a spin rack, you're like, ooh, who's about to get it type of deal, So I think it works in situ, if I can use a fancy phrase I learned from my buddy Alan Porter.
That's right. You can use fancy phrases. That's fine. And I was double checking on the group, and it was Gene Hendricks that thought he looked like Alfred E. Newman. And then Hoover Jeremiah is the one that said, what, me worry?
Yeah, that definitely got them ears. And the question mark does lend itself to that what me worry catchphrase.
Yeah, but no, I agree with you. This is one of the covers. I don't know where it lands in my top covers because, again, there's so many great covers out there, but it's probably the top 10 at least, I would imagine. It's hard to say because, there are so many great covers out there, but this is a great cover. Yeah, I do like, again, I came at this one from behind because I started picking up the books. I started issue 58 and I backtracked the rest of them. So I read this one later on. So I think I may have knew who this was already just because of issues leading up to it and around it and all that and behind it. But I do like the fact that, they're kind of keeping in suspense who's Storm Shadow going to kill? Why is he going to kill this person? Until you get to the story and find out, well, no, he's not going to kill anybody. It's just the training purposes, which it all comes back around and talks about previous issues and foreshadows upcoming events. So I do like this cover because I say not only does it show almost something that happens in the book. I mean, he's not blacked out with a question mark on his head, but this scene's pretty much in the book. And but it does also lead to foreshadowing spoilers for next issue and upcoming issues. So I think it's a great cover. So on a scale of 1 to 5, Yojo Colas. Well, since there's Storm Shadow on the cover, he's got a Cobra symbol. How about grape sodas? How many? Your choice, grape sodas or Yojo Colas, out of 1 to 5. And remember, on the Headcast Network shows, we do allow halvesies.
It's disgusting.
You're still here, though, so that's all right. So how many Yojo Colas or grape sodas do you give this one?
I think Storm Shadow is the kind of guy that would probably sip some oolong tea. So I'm going to do it in cups of oolong.
There you go. That works for me. Again, I'm easy. I'm easy to go.
And speaking of easy, I mean, it's Storm Shadow. It's 1985. It's Zek. It's got a killer background. It's got that intrigue cover. I'm giving it a 5. You're going to be hard pressed. I've been on the show a lot. You're going to be hard pressed to find anything. I don't know if I've ever given maybe a 4 for a Zek cover. They're going to be all 4s and 5s. And this one's just super memorable to me. And it's just a really great drawing. So, yeah, I could definitely see this as a poster. It's kind of my thing. If it's poster worthy, 5. So, yep, I'm going full 5. What about you, bud?
No, I don't like doing this because, well, people start talking and rumors start spreading, but I'm gonna have to agree with you. It's definitely a 5. Yeah, this is a great cover. It's like I say, it's in my top maybe 10. I said that those top 10 shift, depends on the mood I'm in and what I'm feeling that day. But yeah, this definitely falls in the top 10 at this point. Because when you think of G.I. Joe, this is one of the covers I think about. Spoilers for next episode. Next episode is also another great cover, but we'll get to that next month. Again, I've been I said earlier, I've been threatened with threat of death if I don't get Kevin on next episode. So
I got to flip forward to remember what the cover looks like. But I tell anybody and everybody, if you're going to read Old Joe, those Beatty Zek cover days. Oh yeah, I know that cover. Certainly, yes. Yes, we had much discussion about that. I hope I can make it on this issue with you or this episode with you so we can discuss it. But
yes,
I do remember we had big discussion. I still can't remember what the heck we were recording. I think it was Longbox was saying it was definitely Jason and Delvin, and I don't think Pat was there at all.
Well, maybe
he was. He texted me while we were talking. He said, "I see you mentioned Jason and Delvin, but not me when we talked about 43." So. But no, that cover is interesting. I definitely want to talk. Let's skip to 43. Let's just start talking about 43.
Okay, heck, you can, Kevin. 43. So, issue 43.
I'll rate it in. Hopefully, I'll be here for that episode. I'd love to chat with you about it.
But anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the story. As we've already gone over the synopsis. So Mr. Yard Sale Drawer Guy, do you have any thoughts on this issue? None? Okay, so I'll give my thoughts. Oh,
okay. Yeah, you did already lay out the storyline, didn't you? Yeah, man, there's a lot going on in here. Going on in here. We have the fallout from Cobra Island, right?
Right.
You have these are all the story arcs we got going on. Fallout from Cobra Island. Ripper kidnaps Candy.
Right.
Storm Shadow trains Billy. Fred 2 moves in with his new family. Softmaster goes to Springfield. That's 5. Is there any more than 5? And then basically you have Stalker and Snake Eyes driving Hawk around Washington, D.C. I think that's all. That's like 6 things going on. It's a lot.
As the old commercial says, this packs a lot of gram.
It does. It does.
It just...
So I don't even know where to start. I guess there's not a whole lot of the fallout of Cobra Island, other than that one general had a heart attack over it, which I shouldn't laugh at, but it's kind of funny.
Austin.
General Austin, that's right. He like literally had a heart. I think you shouldn't laugh
he's
at
yelling
that.
As he's yelling at Hawk.
Hawk had a heart attack. And that's why Hawk has to go to Washington, D.C. And that's why okay, so I'm going to focus on that for a minute. I really like it that it's Stalker, Snake Eyes, and Hawk, because that's like the old school Vietnam crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really like that group. And I guess this gives me an opportunity to once again kind of complain slightly about Duke. I'm not anti-Duke. I'm not like, certain people who are anti certain characters
right.
on this that appear on this show. But I always thought that Duke kind of replaced Stalker as the field team lead. And I always thought Stalker was always more interesting. Mm-hmm. So, I get it, and Duke stayed behind to help run things. They even had that little scene, but it just made me feel good to see the old Vietnam crew of Hawk, Stalker, Snake Eyes together again. So just focusing on that small part of the story, I will definitely say that. And then I can hand it to you and you can talk about some more, and then I can talk some more, and then you can talk some more, and it'll be like a podcast.
What? Talking about comics?
So I'll leave it at that part of the 6 things that are going on and let you take a few.
Yeah. So like I say, I like Duke. My problem with Duke and Hawk in the comic is they look a whole lot alike.
Yes, there's another problem.
Because I'm looking, I like how the toy and the cartoon gave Hawk the darker hair to kind of help differentiate between the two. Because sometimes I say when I'm looking at this, I was trying to remember, was this Hawk or was this Duke talking to Ripcord when they're letting him know about Candy?
Right.
So that's one complaint. Again, I don't know. I'm assuming this is Hawk's original look, so I can't blame Larry, or I can't blame any of the pencilers or inkers on the book, because again, when you got 2 blonde-haired guys, great condition, I mean, you could only do so much with them.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
You can only do so much with, and again, I'm not an artist, so I mean, I can even do less, but I'm sure, speaking to an artist, I'm sure you can know if I'm wrong or not, but
I honestly, I would probably do what they kind of did, is like try to make sure you can see the birds on his
right.
On Hawk's lapels. And that's interesting too, because now that I look at that, he is rocking birds, which is Colonel, but isn't he a 1-star general?
I believe so.
Yeah. So it's weird. Now that I'm looking on page, I know we're not talking about art, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. It's Duke and Stalker and Hawk and Snake Eyes. Right. And I'm looking, and one lapel, well, both kind of look like bird. One you could get away with saying that's a star, but interesting.
Yeah, it looks like in the same way on page 2, it looks like it's.
Let me take a look at page 2. Yeah, they look like Colonel birds, not 1-stars, which is interesting.
But see, it didn't bother me because I'm not a military guy, so that blew right past me.
I just now noticed it because we were talking about how to differentiate them, and I was like, accentuate the star, but
that's not a star.
That's not a star. He got demoted, I guess, but
I don't. Again, that's all. That's all above my pay grade, as they say.
Anyway, you were saying something.
So I do work for the federal government. So I'm on my pay grade right now. I'm a GS 8, so that's
all right.
My pay grade.
Gotcha.
But no, and I do like the Hawks letting Ripcord know that Candy was taken by Buzzer, and again, Ripcord he's injured. He's coming over from battle, and he just goes off. You told me she went with him willingly. I didn't say that. We don't know the details yet. Just slow your roll, buddy.
That's brilliant storytelling, really, because
yes.
Ripper kidnapping Candy is an interesting plot point, but Larry's added an extra layer to it because it's causing a rift. Like, can you trust her because she comes from a Cobra family? So a nice little extra layer that Larry put in there.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Her dad's C.G. Jones or Appel or Apple or whatever the hell his name is.
Whatever the hell his name. Yeah, he's a bad dude.
She takes off in quotes with Buzzer. So yeah, it does give that extra. And us reading the comic, we know that she didn't go willingly, but yeah, to the Joes, they're not quite sure. And Ripcord's like, what do you mean she went with him? Well, what? Calm down. We didn't meet, we don't know what's going on yet.
Right.
And I do like that Austin had pictures of the soldiers planting the flag on Cobra Island. They're on page 2. I thought that was a nice little touch. And
yes,
he holds up the picture. That rock pile is now a country of diplomatic communities, tax shelters, printing money, import duties, and crap, what's going on? And one of the aides or whatever hops on. Sorry. And actually, it looks like Hawk is actually a colonel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did call, and he calls him Colonel. That's right.
Right there on the second page.
I'd have to go back. You know what? He might not get General until that second version of his figure with the leather jacket. He might have started as a Colonel. Now that my hazy memory is starting to come into focus.
Yeah. In fact, I'm wondering, it may have been around issue 55 when the whole attack on the pit and G.I. Joe kind of changed focus a little bit. It became a mobile unit. Maybe that's when the promotion came out.
Yeah, so they may be right here now that we think about it. I think it is that second version of the figure, and it was about 86, 87.
Yeah,
where he got.
We consider him General Hawk, but yeah, he is, as he says here, he's only a colonel. And again, I don't know in the hierarchy of things, Hawk colonels and majors and generals and all that, where that comes into play, but. The people like you that know what they're
okay. So a colonel is just one step away from being a general. Like the next step up is 1 star after that.
So he would have birds on his collar. Then that is correct.
That is correct, because they do call him Colonel, and I'm going into I'm currently on yojo.com and I am gonna go verify that his original figure was indeed a colonel. Where are you at? Wait, you have to edit this. Oh, that's right. I was looking for him. He didn't come by himself. He came with the missile system, didn't he?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Originally. That's right. And yeah. Okay. Yeah. He was an 06 originally. He was a colonel. Okay. So we were wrong and Larry Hama was right. Surprise, surprise.
I mean, the guy that wrote the book knew what he was doing.
And so, right, though. Like, I just always call him General Hawk in my head. So
yeah, he's always been General Hawk as far as for the last I don't know how many years. So whenever I think of Hawk, I think of him automatically as General. And that's another thing that I like that Larry does in this book. He's not General Hawk from the beginning. He starts off as Colonel Hawk, and then he actually gets promoted, and he changes.
And thank God, because he gets that new outfit. It makes it easier to figure out who he is.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier between him and Duke, because in their dress greens, I'm assuming that's the proper word, dress greens.
Yeah,
It's hard to tell. Is that Duke? Is that Hawk? Is that some other guy? I don't know. Just a good-looking blonde guy. How you tell them apart? But yeah, no. So I do like that. And from there, then the next page is on here is with Buzzer and Candy. So I guess we'll move on to that and talk about that little bit there. Where, and again, I like in this book how it's not all this one part and then all this other part and then all this other part. They have it interspaced, and
it's
kind of like real time, if you will.
It's popping.
Things are, they'll cover a page of Candy and Buzzer, then they move on to something else, and they'll do something else, and they'll go back to Candy and Buzzer. So it kind of spreads the enjoyment, if you will, out throughout the book, and it makes it a little more. I don't know if I want to say realistic, but it makes it a little more dynamic, I guess is maybe the word.
It's dynamic. It's engaging. It's very cool. But yeah, the whole Candy and Buzzer thing, man. Candy's she's a firecracker.
Oh yeah, that's why Ripcord fell for her.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna date a Joe, you've got to be willing to break in enemy bases. And I'm sorry, that's the cartoon a month ago.
I do remember that as well.
And see, this is one reason, just to go off on a tangent for a minute, why I didn't like. Well, I don't like when they change the race or sex of characters or sexual orientation or any of that characters anyways. But when they changed Ripcord in the first G.I. Joe movie to be played by one of the Wayans brothers.
One of the Wayans.
Yeah, one of the I know Damon Wayans because I can't. Marlon, there you go. I think so it was. I didn't like that because, well, he's just a General Joe, just a General Joe. It doesn't matter. Well, no, it does matter. Ripcord, for those that read the comic, I mean, yes, if you just follow the cartoon, Ripcord didn't have a lot to do per se that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But in the comic, he's got a very big character, especially in this range we're actually covering. He's got a lot of story going on, and he's involved quite a bit in these stories.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird. Like, what an odd character to recast in that way. It
Yeah,
like, why not just like we got Marlon Wayans? Well, okay, cool, make him Stalker. I
yeah.
mean, that's or whichever Wayans it was. I think it was
I think
Marlon.
it was Marlon. I don't know. It wasn't
Well,
Wayne.
like I always thought that was weird. I was just like,
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally have put any other Joe Label name on him, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Call them
So
shooters for I mean,
like Hardball. Like Hardball doesn't get enough love. Why couldn't you have been
who?
Hardball?
No,
I don't exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
no,
weird. But you're right. Like I see what you're saying. Ripcord. I think to your point is like the producer's like, oh, it's just kind of a throwaway character. And it's like, no, he had a pretty long arc that
yes.
Larry wrote. He was involved for quite a while. So I track you.
But that's my own complaint. But getting off of GI Joe, there was a lot of other problems besides that. But just minor problem at this point. But anyways, but I do like Candy's fighting against Ripper and Ripper not Buzzer, and Buzzer's like, oh, Candy, my dear, you're beautiful when you're angry.
He's like he was extra creepy and awful in this issue, but like she gave it right back to him, which made it
oh
great.
yeah. But I do like how she's yelling at him, beating on him, and telling him that what are you doing? You're kidnapping. That's a federal offense. That's. He's like, are you kidding? Where is that now? I bashed 2 military cops, stolen government property, escaped the location of GI Joe headquarters, and you think I care about kidnapping?
Like, yeah, later on in the story, he straight out like backhands her.
Yeah,
you're like, oh man, that's just don't be like that. And then like 2 pages later, she cracks him in the eye with the butt of a shotgun. I'm like, dang, Candy, you're the best.
Again, yeah, she's a great fit for Ripcord because she's got that fire that what, I'm not going to take this. I'm going to bash you, and I'm not
Yeah,
it's
she's
just.
tough. I wish they made a figure of Candy Apple at this point, man.
Yes,
because I'm like,
I
she's
agree.
badass.
No, yeah, Candy could have joined the Joes. I mean,
definitely,
especially if you compare to like some of the comic or the cartoon characters, Shipwreck and Quick Kick, just being in the right place at the right time. I mean, she's actually done a lot.
Yeah, she's done quite a bit. At this point, I'm like, dang, I wish I'm being genuine. I wish they would have made a figure for her. And you never know. Sometimes the collectors club will grab some old character. So maybe, what it can come down to though, unfortunately, Aaron, is, that's probably a pure Larry creation.
Yeah.
And then, so like Hasbro would probably have to pay royalties to Larry. It's probably a little more confusing.
Right.
Because it's not a Hasbro creation. It's a Larry. You see what I'm saying? It could probably get confusing.
Some fat 52-year-old guy sitting here complaining about, I always had a character of this.
I want the Candy Apple figure. I mean, I still do, but
Yeah. But yeah, if you stop him, like you're saying, the logistics of it may not, since she isn't a member of the Joe. She wasn't. She was probably something that Larry created for the book. Because
so then at that point, who owns her? Like, does Larry own her? Does Marvel own her? Does Hasbro own her? Bill Willingham was probably the first to draw her, so he probably has some rights. It's like,
Of course, I'll have a contract too, because again, I'm sure Larry and Bill and all them were work for hire, so probably, maybe Marvel owns her. But since Hasbro licensed it to Marvel, do they actually retain? Yeah, it all depends. That's what a lot of people complain about things without knowing. Well, Marvel should own this. Well, you don't know the contracts. I mean, Hasbro actually owns the figures. They licensed it to Marvel to do the comic, but the details of that license is where it comes up at. Characters created in this book, who do they belong to? And that's
it's confusing.
Yeah, well, like with over with Image Comics with Spawn, they created, who was that? Another creator created Angela.
Angela, right? Yeah,
and I forget who it was now. It was one of the British creators.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but yeah, I
know
that
or
became a weird thing because, like, even if you got the trade paperbacks, those issues weren't in there because of the rights dispute.
In the same way, when Cerberus showed up in Spawn,
yeah.
But Angela, again, since it was through Image and their creator owned and all that, whoever, I forget who it was now, whoever created her actually owns it because now she's over in the Marvel universe.
Layers and levels.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all that's why, people a lot of times complain about why don't they do this? Why don't Hasbro owns all this. Well, no, it depends on the contracts, and that's
there's layers and levels within. I was just talking about this on the podcast, and I'll keep it brief here because I've done some art for the Marvel Trading Cards division, and they will actually send, like when they send work to me, they'll be like, hey, we need, an Iron Man card, but they'll even say in there, they'll say, if he has no helmet on, he can't look like Robert Downey Jr. because we have the license to Iron Man, but we don't have the likeness rights to, it's levels and layers,
Yeah, and what was it? It was, I think probably one of your guys' show you're talking about that, the cover, I think it was the last live stream he did.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, there you go. The cover, he could look like he could look like Harrison Ford, but on the inside, they couldn't. It's probably due to licensing. Yeah.
Licensing, like the Ford's people probably said yes to covers or wanted more money for interiors, and then so Dark Horse is probably like, we'll do the covers, but we won't. Levels and layers, folks.
Yeah, there's all these details.
This is why we can't have a candy apple figure, probably.
More than likely, yes. But I know it was on one of your guys. I'm sitting there, I don't watch very many. I don't listen. I don't listen to any podcasts anymore, so it had to have been one that I watched.
Yeah, it was our last live recording.
Your guys' so which one was that? What's the Warriors? Oh, it was the last one. That's one. Indiana Jones, which I was telling you earlier was a great episode.
Thanks, man.
I haven't read those books, but yeah, I enjoyed listening to you guys talk about that.
I'm glad you dig it.
But back to my show, because it's all about me.
Yeah, back to GI.
But yeah, so moving on from there, let me see real quick.
You definitely have. I'll give you a lead, and you can run with it. You definitely have Softmaster basically going full Terminator in the police station.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's great. He's like, I just need to use your computer, and he's like, no, wait a minute, no, this is government property. This is the police. You're not going to use this. The guy that does it out of town. Oh, I know we're on a computer, and I do like that scene. Let me pull that up real quick. I do like where after he takes them all out, and the last cop has the gun pointed at him. And this was from the next issue box last month, where the cop had the gun on the Softmaster, and the next issue box said, will Softmaster die or something like that? Next month.
Not even close.
But I do like how he took the gun from him. And where was it here? He's oh, here it is. Yeah, I'll take that. I had quite a collection of these once. You didn't want any more, right? Referring back to issue 26 when Snake Eyes showed up and he disarmed the kid and took his, was it Uzi or something like that?
Yeah, that's right.
So I do love that callback, because that's been a year?
Yeah,
over a year ago that happened. So
he had that box full of guns under his counter.
I do like that Larry made a callback to that. That was a great callback.
I also like the action without the action. Like we said, it's brisk storytelling. So you see them sort of ganging up on Softmaster at the station. They're like surrounding him and giving him crap. And then it cuts to a Candy and Ripper. Then it cuts to a Stalker Snake Eyes in Washington. And then the next time we get back to the police station, everybody's unconscious except for one guy. And you get that awesome scene, Softmaster just tore through those cats.
I know, he's like, violence only brings more violence back on itself. I've broken a fingernail. And dude's like, how'd you do that? You ain't even human. I didn't see what you did to those guys. You already tried to shoot me 5 times and missed. What makes you think you hit me with your last shot?
Yeah, it didn't work out for that guy.
Softmaster just takes him, takes the gun from him. And he's like, I want you to look up a name. Hardmaster, which is the first name? It's one name. Mm-hmm. But yeah, right before that one, they're about ready to think they're going to tune the Softmaster up. Yeah, we'll teach him real good, Louie. You want first dibs, Dewey? And I like their names, Huey, Louie, and Dewey.
That's very Larry Hava. Yeah. That is so Larry.
And our Softmaster's like, I must warn you, gentlemen, that if you persist in this foolishness, it will hurt. I like that there on, it's not numbered, which I hate. That bottom panel there, that close-up of Softmaster's face as he's smiling, it will hurt.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, and like I said, we get one page of one story, then it goes to another page of another part of the story. And I do like that because it keeps it with as much going on, no matter which part of the story you like, it keeps it going. So if you like just the Softmaster part, you're not reading the Softmaster part. Okay, boring. It gives you a page of each just to keep things interesting for those that are, maybe only like one part of the story, but
We haven't even gotten into like the Billy and Storm Shadow thing, which was very similar to Luke and Yoda in Empire. Like there's training, and then the young one leaves perhaps too soon.
Yes, yeah.
Very Empire.
That was a great. That was a great reach. I like that. That was a very nice pull. It's very fitting.
I try.
I do like. I say getting that number, but they're on the roof. And Storm Shadow swings the sword down towards Billy's head. And he's like, you'll recognize death when it comes for you. And this is kind of the foreshadowing for upcoming issues. Not want to spoil for anybody that hasn't read these issues, but kind of foreshadowing. Like, you'll notice death when it comes for you. He swings the sword down. And Billy's like, well, I guess I'm not a master yet because I didn't see death coming for me. And he's like, oh, well, that means because death wasn't actually coming for you at this point. Your heart knew that I couldn't harm you. And then he kind of goes in. Again, if you are new to the Joe story, we get a little more flashback here of the Hardmaster being killed. And we find out that, I don't think they mentioned this then. I may have forgotten that. But he told Snake Eyes before he died that it wasn't Storm Shadow who killed him. So I do like that a little. Again, I don't remember if I missed it back in issue 26, 27, or if this is a new tidbit. But I do like the fact that Storm Shadow, and I like the way they got, I don't know if that's a serpent or what that is, with the Storm Shadow's head overlaid with the Hardmaster getting the arrow through him.
That's cool.
In the past. But yeah, he tells him that the Hardmaster, he didn't see it because he was imitating Snake Eyes. So the Spectre of Death walked on past and didn't know him.
It's so deep, man. It's deep.
Yeah, I was going to say very zen, very, very deep. But and then we get Billy standing here. I like this image here at the next panel down. Again, a lot of great panels in here. But when Billy's telling Storm Shadow, someday I'm going to confront my father, Cobra Commander, about a lot of things. And when I do, I'm going to find out who killed your uncle.
He's going to confront his father. The Empire Strikes Back references continue.
Yes. No, yeah, and this was 85. So yeah, so Larry did, whether intentionally or it just happened to work out that way, there are a lot of Star Wars references in here. So, which again is not a bad thing.
No. It's all very well executed.
But let me see. So we talked about the Billy and
I think the only story arc we have left is the guys in Washington.
Yeah, Fred II, and again the Hawk and General Austin's not really a lot going on there. That's just a way kind of to get Hawk. Well, actually, not even Hawk, man. Let's get Stalker and Snake Eyes to Washington to be confronted by Wade Collins, aka Fred 2. So, what are your thoughts on that part of the story?
Well, having recently read 43, I know how it's going to further develop. But I definitely, again, I thought it was cool because you had sort of like the old school guys back together again, and you got the nice poignant moment at the Vietnam Memorial for them to share their moment, and the artist and Larry really brought that home by having it start to rain, and so on the statues it looks like tears, and it was very, very heartfelt and well done for Snake Eyes and Stalker to be there, basically killing time waiting to come back and get General Hawk. And then then the Fred shows up and he's like, well, guess what, folks? And then you have to wait till next issue to find out what guess what is.
He does again, the Snake Eyes and Stalker is there to honor Ramon, Dick, and Wade, the three guys.
That's right.
Actually, excuse me, the box before that does say their name: Ramon Escobar, Dick Saberston, and Wade Collins. And they're there to honor them. And then Fred 2 shows up. And I do like right before Fred shows up, Snake Eyes points out that there's a name missing. He's like, what are you pointing at? I've never heard of those two guys. Oh, wait a minute. Alphabetically, Wade Collins should be between those two. But does that mean Wade isn't dead?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, Wade Collins isn't dead at all. Cobra gave a new face, a new name, and a new life. And that's the end of that story. And then we cut back over to New York City, where Luke goes off to confront the Empire. I mean, Billy goes off to confront Cobra Commander about what he's done in the past.
Yes, indeed. So much packed in.
And I do want to mention, you mentioned this earlier, but on page, I think it's like page 20, I'm guesstimating, when Candy, she'd hit him in the face with the shotgun, broke his glasses, and they're back at the pickup truck. Whoa, girl, that was close. That was double lot pellets. Went so close, I could count them. He's like, get out. I said, get out. He's like, I'm out. And she's like, okay, Buzzer, you know what I'm going to do? Oh, no, you wouldn't. And he starts, please, don't shoot me. I can't help it. I had a bad environment in childhood. Society did this to me. No, please, no. She drove off. Stupid broad.
Yep. He's a real tough guy when he's got the upper hand, but she showed him.
Well, that scene kind of reminds me of the Blues Brothers. I'm sure you've seen that.
Locusts! It's a swarm of locusts.
My tax was at the cleaners. I had to stop the orphanage from children. I did this. Not my fault. So Carrie Fisher's like, I oughta.
Oh, great stuff.
Yeah, whenever I see someone begging and pleading like that, well, it's not my fault, it's this or that, I always think of the Blues Brothers. That's a great movie. That's a great scene in that great movie. But
absolutely.
But then she takes off. Yeah, I think gets his confidence back. Stupid broad.
Oh, he's super tough when she's not in earshot anymore.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Candy's got mind control on Buzzer. She tells him to shut up. He shuts up. She leaves. He's gonna start talking again. But yeah, no, I say this was an action-packed issue. There was, like I say, a lot of action, and it wasn't really any. There wasn't any big fight scene per se. I mean, usually you got a lot of battles or a lot of war and stuff going on. This, you had the fight between the guards or the policemen and Softmaster, but we didn't see any of that. You had Candy and Buzzer. She took a shot at next to him, and then got him out of the car. There wasn't really a big fight there, but there was. But it was a lot of character stuff going on in this book. A lot of, like I say, they're digging into stuff from the past and some foreshadowing for the future. I don't know. Personally, I think Larry did well, as we've said, this whole era of G.I. Joe was fantastic, but this is one of those books that Larry, he did a lot in one issue.
Oh yeah. It's rapidly paced. I
mean, nowadays they would probably have to spread that out over this one issue, to spread out over a couple different issues nowadays, just because of the decompressed storytelling. But Larry, I've got all this to fit in here. We're going to get it in here. Hold on tight.
Here we go.
It's almost like he shoved, 10 pounds of story in a 5-pound box.
He did. It's good though.
Taped it up, used some string to tie it off. Okay, it's in there. And again, some writers can do that, and it comes out, I don't want to say crap, but it comes out kind of crap because things are either rushed or missing. But Larry is one of those that I think is a master of storytelling, because again, he can take all these different, like we see, there's like 5 or 6 different story elements going on at one time, and he was able to place it all in one book. And again, as I said, the way he placed it, not, here's Softman's story, here's Candy's story, here's Hawk's story. He spread them out. And so you got a little bit of everything as you're reading through the book. So no matter which part of the story you came for, you're going to stick around for it, because you got to get to these other parts. But even if you didn't like one part of the story, he didn't give you enough time to really dislike it before he moved on to something you liked.
Right.
So, as long as you liked 1 or 2 parts of the story, yeah, Larry gave you enough that you didn't hang around one scene too long to say, oh, this is getting boring, or I don't like. Come on, I don't care about Snake Eyes. Said no one ever, but
yeah, nobody ever said that.
But no, yeah, Larry did a great job in packing all this into a story. Is there anything else that we haven't mentioned that you wanted to bring up?
No, we've been pretty thorough. It's a lot to do in like maybe 22 pages. It was great stuff. Like you said, great pacing. Definitely peak Joe of that 1985-ish era.
Yep. And one thing I do want to mention here on page, I'm going to call it page 5, where the doctor is looking in on Fred too. And he's telling he's got a fever, he needs to stay in bed and, take plenty of liquids. And as soon as the doctor leaves, Fred gets up, starts getting dressed, and his wife's like, what are you doing, Fred? The doctor said, why do you keep even care if I live or die? I'm not the real Fred. He's buried some mountain in Colorado. I'm just another Crimson Guardsman who sold his past to Cobra for a new face and made to order family. And she thought that maybe, we can tell here that maybe they were actually becoming a family, but he's like, don't make me laugh. And meanwhile, the kids are sitting there watching all this going on.
Yep, he's got a bit of a focus problem. He doesn't realize maybe what he's got, and I think that might get addressed, possibly in the next issue.
In fact, I don't know if that little boy there on page, again, not numbered, page 5, a little boy, if I'm not mistaken, he comes into play decades from now in the book.
Oh,
for those that's reading the current G.I. Joe run, that's going to end at the end of the year, apparently. But yeah, he comes into play. If I'm not mistaken, that little boy comes into play later on. So
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about Larry. If I can tell you about it after the show, so for people that's listening, don't want to spoil it for them, but
gotcha. That's cool.
But yeah, I do like that Larry pets these elements in. Like I said, Billy showed up in issue 10 as just a throwaway character. Some kid that, said Cobra did something with his father, or something happened to his father that made him hate Cobra. And so he helped the Joes escape. And then the next time we see Billy, this young boy, we find out his name's Billy, and we find, what Cobra did was, he became Cobra Commander. That's why he hates Cobra so much, because Cobra took his father, in quotes.
Kind of like the dark side took Darth Vader.
I was working out I was thinking out my head myself.
We're heading that back direction again.
Yes, just like, when we first see Luke and Ben talking, Ben says, that Vader took Luke's father and killed Luke's father. We find out later it's just a metaphor for he became something different. Kind of the same thing here. I wonder how big of a fan of Star Wars that Larry is. I don't know if this is just story tropes, from generations past, or if a lot of this did come from, how much this came from Star Wars, or how much it was just, just general storytelling that Star Wars and Larry happened to fall into, which again,
it's
too great,
zeitgeist of the time, there's nothing. We're definitely not saying, Larry ripped off Star Wars.
No, not at all.
We're like, this is a lot like Star Wars, and that's fun. we're very happy.
Good thing. That's not. I'm like, what are you doing? You rip off another story, and maybe just because I'm old and getting curmudgeon-y, but I can imagine a lot of fans nowadays maybe making that complaint. I know, like The Force Awakens, that's just the original Star Wars reread. Well, no, it was a little bit different. Yes, they did take a lot of elements from it, but they did make some changes, and they were kind of referencing that old story. So I kind of feel the same way here, that I think Larry did a great job, whether it was just him referencing Star Wars or just both of them referencing just general story tropes, especially because this was, 5 years after Star Wars, or Empire Strikes Back. So, I mean, I don't know how much this was Larry's, or just maybe he'd seen the movie and that set something on the back of his head. Because, Larry's always said that he doesn't write the stories per se, or write them out ahead of time.
Right. He's a seat of your pants writer.
He sits there and puts his pen to the paper, and whatever happens. So I just wonder how much, again, Larry's a great writer. Like I've been saying that for the last 42 issues, and I'm going to keep saying it for quite some time.
He's amazing.
Yeah, up in the 120s, 30s. I may not say it as much, but we'll wait till we get there and see. But
I haven't actually read those. Like we're rapidly approaching the point where I kind of fell out of Joe Comics, so I'm kind of excited to push on into brand new territory.
Right on. Good to hear. But yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to cover. Other than I haven't mentioned this, but to borrow the words from a friend of the network, Candy, as she's running away from, at any time we see Candy, but there when she's running away from Buzzer on page 8, looks like, as Shag would say, Candy is hot.
There's no debate. Her fashion sense is bold, and she's made more attractive by the fact that she's not at all a damsel. She will say herself. Yes. she's got that Princess Leia quality while we're matching things.
Might as well go back to Star Wars, yeah. Well, that's what a lot of people complain about. Back in the 80s, women were always the damsel in distress, not with a good writer.
No, not at
That
all.
was a good writer, Larry. You got, besides the Joes, Scarlet and Lady J and Cover Girl and the rest, Jinx later on. You've got even civilians like Candy. She's not no damsel in distress. I mean, yes, she does get captured by Buzzer again, but how many times did she escape before she escaped for good from him? I mean, yeah, she's no, oh, help me, Ripcord, help me.
She is tenacious and self-reliant.
Kick Buzzer's butt and help my damn self.
By the end of it, he was literally on his knees pleading for his life.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. But anyways, like I say, unless you have any other thoughts on this issue, I guess we'll stop the discussion here on this. And we'll move on to another segment. Again, something that I stole from a much better podcast. This is the Real American Hero of the issue. This is a Joe and or Cobra that did something remarkable, significant, something that deserves special attention. So if you have one ready, Jarrod, I'll let you go first.
I think you know who the Real American Hero is. Candy. And
it may be the same person, but yes, go ahead.
It's totally Candy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. There's no real debate. I mean, yes, there was a lot of great characters in this book, but Candy, I think it was a toss up between Candy and Softmaster.
No, that's true. Yeah, Softmaster definitely a good contender.
It's a good runner up. But yeah, I think Candy, seeing how, because again, Softmaster, he's trained. He's, been in the martial arts for decades, if not longer. And so, yeah, him taking on a half dozen of, yokel cops in Springfield ain't no thing. But Candy, who is just a civilian, apparently she didn't know her dad was Cobra. So apparently she hasn't had any of the Cobra training. She's just some pretty little blonde girl that happened to find herself in a pickle, and well, she was able to get out. So yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Candy is the Real American Hero for this issue. No debate on that, really. And something I think may be a harder time this issue, if you take any page artwork from this issue and get it blown up on poster size, hang it from your bedroom wall or whatever, Manland, which page would you take?
Man, you're right. It is tough because there's a lot going on. I've got it down between two, and they are back to back. It's either the one where Storm Shadow does the sword test with Billy with the 4 vertical panels, or the one right after it where he's talking about the history and the assassination of the Hard Master. Whew, man.
Pages 9 and page 9 and page 10.
There you go. If I had to pick one, I'm going to take the one where he's telling the story, just because it's got flying doves. It's got Arishikagi or Ashika, however you say it, emblems on it. I like it. I'm going to go with that one.
And see, I'm divided between 3 pages, 8, 9, and 10. The 2 you were looking at, plus the page before that with Candy on the run, just because, well, Candy's hot. But
and it's a very Candy moment.
Yes, and Buzzer riding up behind her and grabbing her. I love that, how Buzzer, as he drives by, he grabs her by the waist and just picks up and takes her off with her. But having said that, I'm going to go for I think it's page 9, the one where basically from the cover where Storm Shadow's bringing the sword down on Billy. Because again, that's very dynamic. It's great that the way that they're the last panel on that. We see Storm Shadow's face reflected in the sword.
That is nice. Yes.
With the sun glinting off of it. And Billy's like, oh, I guess I don't have the heart of a master because I didn't see it come. He's like, oh, it's because death wasn't actually coming for you this time. So, yeah, and again, I keep referring to that line. Keep an eye out for next episode, guys. But anyways, so that is my page of art. So yeah, it looks like 9 and 10 are the pages that we're taking. So again, both great choices. And again, as I said, there was a lot of great choices in this book. Because this book was filled with magnificent artwork.
Oh man, I just realized that there's another great page, and it's the one with the Vietnam memories with Stalker and running for the chopper, where
Oh yeah,
Storm Shadow's carrying Snake Eyes. That's
yeah.
another good one.
Yeah, I think that was page 21. It looks like.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I'm looking at this digitally, and the cover's page 1, so the story starts on page 2. So it's off one page. So I'm showing page 22, so it'd be page 21.
Yeah, for me, it's page 249 in my collected book.
That's another. Again, we can sit here. Like I said, the one that you mentioned earlier, page 18, where they're at the monument, and we get a close up of the statue with the rain pouring out. It looks like they're crying. That's another great. Like I said, this was a tough issue to pick one page of story.
Definitely
a page of art. I mean, because again, it's got a lot of great pages in it. This was, like I said, who is it? Rod Wiggum and Andy Muschiski, and also George Russos for the color. They all did a great job on this issue, as usual. I mean, this run of G.I. Joe, for the most, we have our complaint every once in a while, but overall, it was a great run. It was some fantastic artwork, some fantastic storytelling. Well, did you have anything else to say about the comic book?
No, man, just good issue, good solid issue. Like I said, if you see a Beatty cover, chances are you got a good issue.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even
or in this case, a Janky cover, right? A Zek cover. I do prefer Beatty with my Zek, but again, Janky did a good job. You see a Zek cover though, you got a good issue.
Even if Beatty wasn't involved this time, it's still a great issue.
Yeah, we're still gonna give him props.
Oh yeah, very much so. And I still may play the Beatty Zek song that I've got.
You got it
anyway, even if it's only half of it. All right, we're going to take a quick break and refill our Yojo Colas, and we'll be right back. Sorry, zoned out for a second there. Oh, accidentally, what did I do? There. Actually clicked on the thing from StreamYard that shows. I'm like, where'd that go? Shit, okay. So we're going to take a quick break, refill our Yojo Colas, and we'll be right back to talk about the cartoon. Close that, yeah. That's a lot of great art in that book. That issue. That was that was hard to pick.
Yeah, it's just so much going on.
Yeah. And yeah, Larry just did a great job of cramming all that information in there. So okay. Let me see. All right, well, if we're ready to get back into it, we'll go to the cartoon.
All right. I'll go back on mute, let you do your intro.
Welcome back from the break. Check out those great shows. But in the meantime, continue listening to this one. We're going to move on to the cartoon. Here's the cartoon promo, her intro. This episode, we're looking at the episode entitled The Viper is Coming. The credits on this was directed by John Gibbs and Terry Lennon, written by David Karen, and it premiered October the 24th of 1985. The synopsis. At Barbecue's new home, a reconfigured firehouse, he starts getting cryptic phone calls from the Viper. Each call leaves the Joes with a puzzle that leads them to either a Cobra stronghold or upcoming Cobra attack. After discovering that none of our usual suspects are the Viper, the Joes are out on force on the day that the Viper is due to arrive, surrounding the firehouse. Joes are amazed and amused to find out that the Viper is actually an old German window wiper coming to clean Barbecue's windows. And that is The Viper is Coming. So, Jarrod.
Yes.
I'm assuming you've got some sort of notes there.
I got notes.
Your notes. There you go.
I don't have a ton, though, so you may or may not want to set the timer. But
as you say, but I will, just because I like
okay, well, here we go. Let's get started. My first note says, Gung Ho's dance moves. That's all it says. You can expand upon these if you want. Gung Ho's dance moves.
All of their dance moves, but yes, Gung Ho.
Yeah, especially he had a really funky thing going there. My next bulleted point says, and I firmly believe this, I don't think Roadblock knows the rules to basketball.
No, he does not.
Although he was winning, I'm not sure what game he was winning at.
I think it was full contact basketball.
It really was. I'm going to try to read this next bullet in a voice. Barbecue might be my new favorite voice. It's my best barbecue. It's not great, but that voice is killer.
Yes, no, I like that. That's
It is in league. It deserves to be talked about as much as the fake Jack Nicholson voice for Shipwreck. That is how good the barbecue voice is.
Yes.
All right. My next note is Cobra's R&R facility. Sweet. They have a nice R&R facility.
And that's why people join Cobra.
Exactly. Oh, here's a good one for you. My next bullet. Because we mentioned how we need a Candy Apple figure. I also need a figure of the Disco Cobra guy who runs the R&R facility.
Yes.
That guy had the best look. He was totally just. I can't describe him, but if I say Disco Cobra guy, I think your mental image is probably right.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Here is a rare, non-sarcastic, not making fun of it bullet. Like, I legitimately wrote this down. The action scenes in this one are really well animated. Like,
they are. Yes,
has a fair amount of action scenes, and the animation looks good. Like,
yes,
I was like, not bad at all. Good job,
yeah, for the 80s, sometimes you get some good animation. Sometimes it's passable.
Yeah, it's hit and miss, and I felt like this one was hit, and it was pretty good. I couldn't help but notice that all of the cadets at West Point absolutely flocked to Scarlet.
Where's the problem with that?
And I know it's a bunch of college guys who are 22, just about to get commissioned, and they were all over. There was all kinds of chaos going on, but they were interested in Scarlet.
Yeah. So, I was interested in Scarlet. Never mind, anyways.
Who wasn't, right? And then this is my final note. I told you there wasn't a ton this time. I wrote that my dad actually ruined this episode for me because my dad had told me the Viper joke. You know, there's a joke about the same basic situation. This is basically a joke that's been turned into an episode. And my dad had told me that joke when I was younger. So, like, just when I saw the title, The Viper is Coming, I kind of knew what was going to happen there. So, unfortunately, it didn't have the impact that maybe someone who had never heard the joke had, but it was still fun.
Yes, I don't think I ever heard that joke. So when I was, what was this? When I said this came out 85? No. Yeah, 85.
Yeah, October, I think you said, of 85.
In fact, this issue that we covered came out a month before this episode did.
Oh, you're syncing up timing well there.
Just for a moment or so, then it's going to go off again because, again, one was weekly or daily, and one was monthly. So, but yeah. So in 85, I was 15. Yeah, I hadn't heard that joke. So when I saw this, I was like, what? Oh, okay. I get it.
Well, see, I'm kind of jealous of you because, like, when I was very small, my dad told me the joke. Hey, you know, and the joke is just some guy gets a call. I'm the Viper, and I'm coming for you on Friday. And he calls it, it goes multiple times. I'm the Viper. The Viper's coming from you. And then Friday comes in. I'm the Vindo Viper. I'm here to vipe your windows. Is the pun to that joke or the punchline. And so I knew it was coming, but I'm envious of you because you got to enjoy its purity. So tell me about it, man. Tell me about it.
So I'm assuming that's where David Karen, the guy that wrote this issue, this episode, I guess maybe he heard that joke.
Oh, definitely.
Let's do a whole episode around this.
I bet he heard the joke and he figured, hey, it works especially good here because there are vipers.
Right.
It
definitely works.
And it's definitely a fun episode with all its various coincidences.
Yes.
But I've talked enough. I'll let you talk about it.
And again, so I've been playing music on yours. I started playing music when I do mine also, just because for yours, I do the Jeopardy theme. And on mine, I've been doing the match game.
All right.
I started doing match game for yours for a little while. And I did a poll on the Facebook. And do you guys prefer the Jeopardy, the fake music for match game, or no music? And most people voted for the Jeopardy theme. So I left Jeopardy on yours, and I'm going to start. I want to use the matching because I really like that. we canceled cable and I do everything streaming. And we've got a smart TV, and for the longest time, when I wasn't watching something, I had it on the Buzzer channel, and they play a lot of those old match game shows.
Right.
So I'm. Anyway, so moving on to my thoughts.
Let's go.
So I'm going to say this before, and I'll say it again. I love this episode. This is hands down probably one of my favorites, at least in the top 10. Because again, there's a lot of great episodes, especially coming up. Like I said, a lot of the two-parters I really love, but for a single standalone issue, this is probably one of my favorites. Just because, like I say, apparently it's an old joke that was lengthened into an actual episode of a G.I. Joe cartoon. So I do love the foreshadowing when Roadblock goes to the window and he says that he won't need to have that window cleaned.
Oh, that's clever.
I do like the foreshadowing of that, which I'll come back to here in a few minutes. I love that even the green shirts were invited to Barbecue's housewarming.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's just his friends, it'd be the main Joe group, but no, we got a lot of green shirts. Mm. And now maybe he invited them along just so Roadblock could rough them up during basketball. But
I still think it was actually basketball.
Full contact basketball. Something put on by the WWE or whatever it is, the Wrestling Federation. Kind of like when back in the 90s when they had the extreme football or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, like the XFL. Or,
yes, there you go. Yeah. Kind of like that, XBL or something. I don't know. But and even when they're hanging out and relaxing, Cobras are wearing their helmets and their mask.
Yes,
Cobras were ready for COVID 30 years prior to it coming out. Cobra's ready for anything, and that's why you should join Cobra. Resorts plus, you know what? At some point, and again, back in the day, Cobra could have been responsible for COVID. That is very much a Cobra plot, I would think. So yeah, these guys are ready for it. And I guess Hasbro didn't have any Cobra snow vehicles to push at this point, because when they were in the snow area, all they had was the HISS tanks and the jets and stuff. But yeah, they didn't have any snow vehicles at this point, apparently.
Like they were wasn't they like in Antarctica?
Yeah, something.
And I was like, how did Ace get there so fast? Like they brought a whole squadron of fighters with them on there. Okay, they went all in. Well,
and thank you for mentioning Ace, because that is my next point. Ace and his poker references. And you set it up.
Nice.
Yeah, Ace. He's only in there for like 5 seconds, but he's throwing out poker references left and right.
He's got a brand. He's sticking to it.
Yes. Back to the main concept of this episode, the Viper. When he calls and leaves messages, he reminds me very much of my oldest son. Because usually, if you call and you leave a message, you say, I'm the Viper, and I'm coming to wipe your windows on this date here, it's going to cost this much. No, he calls, the Viper is coming, 525. Then he calls back, the Viper is coming, da-da-da. Just a brief little, my oldest son, I love him to death. Don't get me wrong. He's 29, married, he's got a little daughter. I love him to pieces. That boy cannot leave messages for anything. He sends you a text or a you're like, what the? So you try to shoot him back a message or whatever. He responds something cryptic. I'm gonna call his wife. I'm gonna call Katie and find out what the hell's going on. So yeah, the Viper is very much in my son. Just very cryptic messages that by itself. What does this mean? I don't understand what you're talking about. Leave me a full message. And it's not like he was leaving voice messages. The Viper was calling and actually talking to somebody. And before they could question about what he's talking about, he hangs up on them. Viper's coming 525. Click. What kind of business are you running here, man? And yes, if he didn't do that, we wouldn't have an episode. But if he wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't have had an episode. I mean, very clear to the point.
Yep.
My next point I have down here is Cobra in the military tanks when they were at West Point. The one thing, Cobra's like stormtroopers. The joke's always, they can never hit anything. The one thing Cobras can hit are each other.
They're very good at hitting each other. Yes.
And again, another Star Wars reference. So.
There you go. It's all working out.
And again, at West Point, I love when Blood, he's standing amidst all that smoke. He wants to make a getaway. All of a sudden, the smoke kind of envelopes him. He's able to make a getaway. The smoke's actually helping Cobra get away, or Destro or Major Blood get away. Actually, I do like that. Yeah, the smoke's working with Cobra apparently. My next note here again aligns with the foreshadowing earlier about the windows being cleaned and the cryptic messages from the Viper. Did Barbecue forget that he set up the Viper to wipe his windshields originally? someone I would think someone had to make that call originally to this old German Windshield Viper guy to come clean his windows. One, he seems like he would have recognized the voice because he doesn't have a standard voice. Some people call, even some a friend, maybe you've been friends with, maybe they sound like somebody else. You can't quite tell who it is. This guy has a very distinctive voice. Who set up the original? And again, apparently Barbecue knew about it because he made that reference earlier. But, there's one window that doesn't even be claimed. I mean, what? And I do like how all the calls that the Viper made happen to line up with Cobra.
Yes.
Either the headquarters, their base, or where they're attacking at, or something going on with Cobra.
Like west corner, and then Scarlet was like, another word for corner is point. So we should go to west. I'm like, I don't know if I would have made that logically, but okay.
That's kind of like Batman 66 logic.
Yeah.
You're right. I talked about this on Batman the movie, the 66 movie, or whatever it was, when they were talking about figuring out who was behind it. Well, C. Talking about the ocean. Oh, C stands for Catwoman. Catwoman must be involved too. Where the hell did you get that stretch of logic at? Kind of the same way here.
Yes, I concur.
But yeah, overall, I say it was a goofy episode. But as I said, it's one of my favorites, probably because it's so goofy. And like you said, the action scenes are well done for being a goofy episode. And yeah, like I say, it could have all been prevented had the windshield wiper guy, the window cleaner guy actually been able to talk to people instead of just calling them cryptic messages with whoever answers. But
I would like to point out though that $5.25, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, for to get your windows clean, $5.25 an hour.
That's well, back in the 80s. I mean,
yeah,
that wasn't a bad deal back then, I guess. Yeah,
it's a great deal now.
Yeah, now it's fantastic. But yeah, back in the day, that was a good deal. Yeah. So that was The Viper is Coming.
Fun,
goofy but fun.
Yeah, goofy but like in all the right ways.
Yes. And again, my wife always tells me that I'm tacky, I'm corny. I love these corny jokes like that. So this episode was a slam dunk for me, just because I'm into these corny dad jokes, if you will. And taking a dad joke and turning it into an episode of G.I. Joe. I mean,
a literal joke that my dad told me.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So where can you go wrong with that?
Yes.
So it's interesting to hear though the origins of this episode, that it started out as a dad joke. I wasn't aware of that. So that makes it even
now you know why you like it so much.
Yes. That makes it all so much better. The Viper is coming. Do you have any other thoughts about The Viper is Coming?
No, man, like you said, goofy in all the right ways. Good show.
And I agree. Yes, it could have been better, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, for what it was, I don't know how they could have gotten anything better, because making any changes would have, changed the entire dynamic of the show, I think. So while the Viper is annoying because he reminds me of my son leaving messages and talking to you got to love it. Just like my son. He annoys the hell out of me, but I love him.
But you love him, yeah. This makes sense.
But I guess that's going to do it for this. I say it wasn't a whole lot of comments on this, just because it was such a great episode, and just the two of us. Anyways. So we're going to take a quick break, refill our colas one more time, and we'll be right back. The Viper is coming.
5:25.
Yeah, you think about it. I rewatched the episode. I'm like, oh my God, this is my son. My son will do that. He'll send a cryptic text or dinner. Your house, we're going out.
Dinner. Yes, I plan on eating dinner. We need more details.
He's always doing things like that. Or like, so half the time I'm calling his wife, Katie, what the hell is Tim talking about? Oh, we want to know if you and Michelle want to come over and have dinner. Oh, okay. We'll see. Thank you for actually giving me information. But, and I can't do anything but blame my son's father for that. I used to blame their mother, but when my youngest two kids turn out much the same way with a different mother, Only common denominator.
You got one common denominator there, man.
It's their mother's fault. She's retarded, so pass it on to them. But yeah, my younger two are just the same. So, and they look just like their brother and sister, the brothers. So, got nowhere to accept the blame.
No getting away from that one. Yep.
So, anyways, let's go and go back. I'll fill in post the box to pit later. And here comes Jarrod back from his break. Welcome back, Jarrod.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I drank some of that Storm Shadow tea.
How was it? There you go. So before we leave, is there any other thoughts on either the issue or the cartoon we talked about?
No, man, it's a good episode, a good one too. You know, we had a real good, fast-paced, story-based issue and a real silly, but in the right ways of 80s silliness cartoon. So just a fun combo today.
Right on. Good. Glad you liked it. Like I say, sometimes, usually the comic is really good. The cartoon can be hit or miss. So I'm glad we got a good cartoon to go with a good issue. So
yeah, definitely.
And I was trying to think of some way to push this cartoon back till next episode. Because again, next episode I know is going to be a great issue, but either way it worked out. So Jarrod, if people want to hear more about you, I don't know why they would at this point, but if they want to hear more from you and your blatherings on comic books or movies or James Bond or whatever else you do, always tell the folks at home that's listening where they can find more of Jarrod Albrecht, the art artist.
Can do. I podcast mostly on the Long Box Crusade Network. You can check that out. We have a myriad of shows talking comic books, movies, old TV shows, that kind of stuff. I'm also on Her Majesty's Secret Podcast Network, where we talk all the James Bond stuff. If you want to chat with me personally, I am at Yard Sale Artist, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It is all at Yard Sale Artist. And if you want to check out my art wares, which does include several G.I. Joe characters that I have drawn on pages from military manuals, you can see all that at www.theyardsaleartist.com.
And for me, like I said, you can find me here on the Headcast Network. I've got a billion shows. Well, not that quite that many, but it seems like it. I've got my main show is this one, G.I. Joe, or American Headcast. It is now starting this month. It should be a monthly show. The first Thursday of the month, I do have my new show coming out that is called G.I. Joe, The Adventure Continues. This is where a friend of mine, a guy I met on Facebook, Eric Smith, has started a G.I. Joe role-playing game using the new game from Renegade Studios. I decided to play with them. Oh, they came out right. Anyways, we're playing together with a couple other guys. It's getting worse and worse.
It's just bunch of guys playing with each other on the internet.
Yeah. But as I was talking about Jarrod earlier, I may have a free moment or two, so I decided to fill that with another podcast. So that's going to be a bi-weekly podcast. It's going to come out the first and third Thursdays of the month is my plan. The second Tuesday of the month, we have this show, G.I. Joe, or American Headcast. The fourth Thursday of the month, we have Bravo Team, where me and my new mostly regular co-host, Articulated Chad, talk about anything else G.I. Joe related. In fact, if things work out right this month, we're planning on talking about G.I. Joe, the movie, because apparently this is the 35th anniversary of G.I. Joe, the movie. In fact, it's playing in select cities around June 23rd and 25th, I think it is. It's playing. So look, it's on the, what's that called? Same thing that does the Transformers, the movie, every so often. It's like Regal Studios.
Okay. The only one I can think of is Fathom Events, but I don't know that they do.
I think it's Fathom Events.
Is it Fathom? Okay.
I think it is.
I've been to a couple of those.
Yeah, it's the 23rd and I think the 25th of June. They're playing G.I. Joe, the movie. I know I went to the Transformers ones they've done for the 30th and the 35th anniversary ones. And I'm like, last time I went, they should do this for G.I. Joe, the movie. G.I. Joe, the movie deserves this treatment.
Yeah, I don't think G.I. Joe, the movie was originally put on the big screen. I think it went straight to VHS.
Yeah, it did go straight. I think it went straight to video. It was supposed to come out, but due to delays and.
Yeah, so definitely would be cool to see it up there.
Killing Optimus off and
way
to
go, Transformers.
Kind of messed up G.I. Joe's mojo. So I think it went straight to video, I believe, or TV. I mean, that's where I first saw it, I believe, was the split it on TV in like the 5 parts or whatever it was. But I'm excited to see this on the big screen. So that's the end of the month. And again, around that same time, we should be releasing an episode talking about G.I. Joe, the movie. So I've also got my regular shows, my Head Speaks, where I talk about anything comic book related or geeky or anything I want. Currently, I'm covering the Power of the Atom series from the late 80s, early 90s. And then the second Tuesday of the month, I have that's this one. So let me cut that out. Then my third Tuesday of the month, I have Task Force X, where I talk about Suicide Squad and Checkmate. In fact, I just finished covering the Phoenix Gambit over in Suicide Squad when the Suicide Squad was defunded, and they came back together and made the new Suicide Squad under Amanda Waller. Cool. The fourth Tuesday of the month, I have the Starman Adventure Show, where I look at the Will Payton Starman book. And then I have two more shows just because I don't have enough. The first Thursday of the month, me and the wife do the Starbright Project, where we talk about a great TV show called Quantum Leap. In fact, it's supposed to be coming back to NBC sometime soon. There was a pilot ordered, and then I heard more recently that they've actually brought it to series. And it's supposed to be, a lot of websites refer to it as a reboot. I want to kick them in the hindquarters. From what I read on it, it's not a reboot, it's a continuation. Oh. Apparently, from what I've read, some new group of scientists are continuing Sam's studies, and they're trying to find out where things went wrong and what happened with Sam, is what I understand.
Oh, okay. So, that's fascinating.
I'm definitely interested in checking that out.
That sounds very cool. I recently did some book page sketches of Sam and Al on pages from the script pages from the show, which are available at www.theartsellers.com.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Plug away, man.
www.theartsellers.com. If you can't live without Sam and Al book page sketches, they're available there.
In fact, I was going to get a hold of you. Apparently I ended up with 2 copies of one of the novels. I've had one for years, apparently, but the cover's kind of messed up, and a couple of the first pages are messed up due to weather.
That's what I'm looking for.
It's not a little shed, but yeah, if you want that, I could send that to you if you need more pages to do more.
Wouldn't say no. Yeah, I love those novels, by the way.
I know I've read them all. I didn't think I'd read that last one because it doesn't sound familiar, so I bought it online here somewhat recently, and my uncle passed away almost 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and he left everything to my boys, and they're going through. Malcolm in his later years was declining in health and his mental facilities, if you will. And even before that, Malcolm he was a bit of a jerk. He had a heart of gold.
Okay.
I mean, he'd be the type, he runs down the street, in the middle of winter, no shirt, no shoes, yelling at cars driving by, going too fast. But if you were a friend of his, he would give you literally the shirt off his back.
Gotcha.
So in later years, people took advantage of that. And there's crap all over his backyard. There's a little shed in the back full of junk. And I'm looking, there's pictures for somebody I don't even know. Like, what the hell is this doing? What the hell? Anyway, so as we're going through this, my son's found a box of some of my books in, and that last Quantum Leap book was in there. Again, it's been in different sheds and buildings throughout the year. So yeah, it's a little ratted, but Jarrod may be able to use some of these pages for his artwork.
Yeah, I love finding damaged books.
You did like one.
Yeah.
I think it was Sam. Was it? I forget how. You did one of them on an episode of G.I. Joe. You were working on it.
Oh yeah,
I think it was.
That's right,
Sam, because you did that bluish background. You're asking.
That's right. I was working on it while we were. Yeah.
It did look kind of like he was leaping.
Yes, but, yes. I forgot I was working on that during.
Yeah, you're working on that, so and that's what I mean. You know what? I see if Jarrod wants. I'll send it to him that way. He has more pages.
I dig damaged books because I don't like to take a new book and destroy it to do book pages. It's much better to get the damage. So awesome.
Fact, if I get any more, I'll send you a couple books. I got the Quantum Leap, and I made some other like Spider-Man or some other Marvel type books. I'll send you a couple books your way. But enough about what we're doing in the meantime. My last show I do is Voyagers Cast, that me and the wife do also, looking at the TV show Voyagers, not Star Trek Voyagers. It's just called Voyagers. It went from 1982 through 1983. It was another time travel show about a guy that's a Voyager that travels through time, fixing things that went wrong. And he accidentally stumbles upon this little boy. I say little boy. The boy was like 12 years old, and drags him along on the adventures. A great show. We cover that one also. So definitely check out the shows as I have on the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, looks like there's only one person there. Hi. And if you do like what you're hearing, you can also call and leave a voicemail at area code 559-500-3182 and leave a voice message and let us know what you think. Also, if you like the show, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/Headcast Network. I'd think. And if you like what you listen to, throw a few bucks in the tin. And I think that's all the stuff I'm doing right now. Maybe not enough. I may have to throw a couple more shows, but I still have time to sleep, so I've got some more time there somewhere. But Jarrod knows what I'm talking about. They've got like a dozen shows themselves.
Yep, I know the game.
How we find time with families and jobs and then this podcasting junk. But anyways, enough about my complaints about my spare time I don't have. Jarrod, I want to thank you very much for joining me. Little intimate one-on-one session today. Didn't have the rest of the clowns around messing things.
No, it's fun. I'm glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
Always. I guess that's going to do it for this time. Remember, until next time, knowing is half the battle. Yo, Joe. If I get a Yo, Joe from you, sir.
Yo, Joe. I'm pretty sure I qualify as Soldier of the Month for this.
You just might. You just
come on.
You just might. I'm record all that later and add it in.
I need that parking spot.
But no, thank you very much for joining me, sir.
No problem, man. I had a good
pleasure.
time.
But
as always.
I said, I've been meaning to go about that Quantum Leap book, see if you want to. The boys found a box of books, and I'm like, holy shit, I did have that. I don't reading this one, but I have it, huh? That's really cool. Messed up. Well, good thing I bought me another one. I'll see if Jarrod wants this one because I know he does. He does artwork on pages from messed up books. So
that's what I do. Yeah. So that'd be nice.
Do any more Quantum Leap ones, but he'll have it just in case he
those other ones. Those folks ordered Quantum Leap, and it was actually a birthday present that a husband was giving to his wife because she loves Quantum Leap. And I didn't have any books, so I was like, the next best thing I can do when that happens is I'm like, well, I can go find a script page and I can print it out on really nice paper and then draw it on that.
Right.
But now if someone says, hey, Quantum Leap on a book, I got the books.
There you go. I'll send those to you. Right. I think I should have your address. Send your address to be on the safe side.
Will do.
You email it to me or whatever, so I have it. And like I say, there's the new Quantum Leap series coming out at some point. Some Asian guy is going to be the lead actor in it, and like I said, a lot of sites are reporting as a reboot. But if you read the actual information on it, it talks like it's more going to be a sequel, that they're following up on Sam's work. And
I saw that Ernie Hudson's going to be in the premiere episode.
Ernie Hudson, I think he's supposed to be a part of the show itself. He's playing. You watched the old Quantum Leap show,
of course.
Anything? Remember Magic?
Yes, I heard he was going to be playing.
Yeah, Ernie's playing Magic.
Cool.
In this broadcast,
my favorite show of all time. So